Hey there YouTube, welcome back to my channel WoodandStuff with another fantastic idea. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to repair your Delta Monitor 17 series shower faucet. And in my case I have to repair it because my freaking kids broke off the adjuster for the hot and cold water. And so you can see here that that piece is completely broken off, and unfortunately it broke off the piece, the stem that the connector would screw into, which means I have to replace the entire cartridge. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how we did that. Hey, just a quick heads up before we dive in. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Also, I've included links to all the products and tools featured in this video in the description below. Check them out if you're interested, and hey, thanks in advance for all your support. So let me begin by telling you about purchasing the cartridge. This faucet has been in my home since I bought it. I've been here about 22 years, and so the faucet is original to the home. And so I did have this repaired once before by a plumber who apparently used the wrong cartridge and just retrofitted it and made it work. And so ended up purchasing the wrong cartridge, or so I thought, and I went back and bought a second cartridge. But as it turns out, either cartridge works. It really is just a difference of the O-rings that it comes with to seal off the water connection. Now, before you get started doing anything, you have to turn off the water supply to your home. Everybody's is located in a different spot. Locate yours and shut the water off first. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is remove this cover plate by unscrewing these two screws that you see here. I start out by using a screwdriver, and then I realized that the screws were pretty long, so I went to a cordless impact driver and removed them. Now that the screws are out, remove the plate and expose the cartridge, but there's this cover on it that you're going to have to pull free, and you just give it a good yank. Next, you want to unscrew this retention nut, and you want to be careful. Use a set of channel locks, apply enough pressure to break the threads free, and then go ahead and complete unscrewing it by hand. Okay, so this is what it'll look like once the nut is off. Next, all we have to do is pull that cartridge out, and I'll show you how to do that next. Now grab your channel locks, grab the stem, and pull straight back. Boom, it'll come right out. And there you go. There's the cartridge right in your hand, ready to change. Now once the cartridge is removed, you're going to have to remove the seat and spring that's sitting inside the top two holes that you see here. Now they may come out when you pull the cartridge free. They'll just spring out. And if not, you're going to have to go back in there and pull them out because they're going to have to be replaced. Now the cartridge kit comes with two sets of seals. We want to use these that are connected. And those are going to fit right inside the cartridge housing, and you can see right there there's grooves milled right into the housing itself. You'll place them in there. Now all we're going to do is grab this gasket and fit it right into those grooves that are milled into the housing. You'll seat it, push it in place, and that's how it should look when it's done. Next, we're going to take the seat and springs and we're going to put them inside of one another. The small part of the spring goes in first, and the fatter end sits on the outside like so. Now to install the assembled component, use Vaseline. Vaseline is going to help that assembly stick to your finger, making it much easier to push into the hole, just like that. And don't worry about the excessive Vaseline that's left over. All that's going to do is lubricate the spring. It's not going to hurt anything. But you see how easy they go in? Just like that. Boom. Done. Now that the seat and spring assembly are installed, you're going to go ahead and install the cartridge. Now the cartridge is easy. It's going to fit right in just like that. However, you have to line up the notch in the housing with the notch that's built into the cartridge itself there. Once it's lined up, you just push it in. Next, you're going to get the retaining nut, and you're going to hand tighten it just like that, And then you're going to go ahead and get your channel locks and tighten it down. But don't go crazy and over tighten it, as you can totally damage that nut. You just want to give it enough tightness, make it snug so that the cartridge doesn't come out. At this point, I want to test the cartridge to make sure that I installed everything correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the water back on and then run the cartridge open and see if when I shut it back off, all water stops, and it did. So now I'm going to go ahead and continue with the assembly. Now we're going to take the cartridge housing cover and replace it. However, we want to move that O-ring all the way forward, and we want to line up these holes with where the screw for the plate is going to screw into. You want to make sure those line up kind of like that. I don't know if you could see it there well, but you want to make sure the holes line up so you don't have any issues when you go to reinstall the screws. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall the cover plate there, and like I mentioned before, you want to line up the holes so that you don't have any difficulties there getting the screw back in where it needs to be. And once everything's lined up, you go ahead and hand screw it in so you don't cross thread and damage the screws, and then you go ahead and go to town and tighten it up. Also remember, if you use an impact driver, don't drive that sucker in there until it starts really forcing the screw in there. Tighten it down just a bit and then finish it off with a screwdriver. Once everything is tightened down, go ahead and install the faucet handle. Next, you want to go ahead and insert or install the temperature control handle, as I'm doing here by reinserting the screw that holds it down. And again, be very careful not to over tighten that screw and strip the threads inside of the stem. Then you're going to install the cover plate to the temperature control handle by snapping it back in place. Last but not least, you have to test the cartridge out to see if you installed it correctly by turning the water on, let it run, and then you're going to go ahead and shut it off and make sure that the water shuts off and you don't have any excessive dripping. And it looks like this job is finished. Congratulations. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found these tips helpful, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks here at WoodandStuff. See you next time.